Candidates will sit over here and the moderators will sit. Oh, we switched it. On either side? Okay. You did. Oh. Oh, yeah. I mean, you know, this isn't like an all the time thing, but you know, for a particular weekend. Nice turnout, it looks like.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, cool. Oh, shall I make, should we just make some? Does anyone have like, I mean, because we could do like a page. We can do a page that we just tint right here, like, you know, I'm good with it. That is true. I'm gonna help make little things like no more.
First.
Really?
Yeah.
Alright. We get started on time, but it's okay if we don't.
Take this one over here. Hmm? Hmm. Hmm. What's that? It said in one of the posts that since there's gonna be a lot of people inside to bring one. I have an extra, I think, somewhere if you want it. In my backpack. Take a look. Yeah.
I know, it's so exciting. Nice when people come out. They look so cute. Right? Right. That's so cute. No, they're precious. We'll see if mine show up at the end, right? See if mine show up at the end. I'm not obligating. I try not to. Hi. Look at this. He said he's gonna take the front seat. I love it. Yeah, yeah. You have any? Yeah, there's some good-looking treats over there, actually. Yeah. We have all the good bakery items. Hmm?
We're gonna take turns, I think. Again, then I heard it was
Directing.
like- I'm confused. I heard they wanna take turns, there's no time, so-
It's the only adult size one I have. The rest of the kid size ones.
Well, in the interest of people not having much else to
I mean, it's kind of an afterthought these days anyway.
People joining on the Zoom.
say. I saw that.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is,
Yeah.
Messing with it.
It's funny. You know, I like missed this was
Do a little freestyle.
office all the time, then I misplaced
Freestyle.
them. Oh, you know, nobody's really wearing them, even though I normally would. And
it's open mic situations.
yeah.
No hot mics, no hot
Yeah.
mics.
I'll bring them, I'll take videos and stuff. Like,
I forgot how cold it is in here.
you don't have to.
Sure, that's Saturday.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, at the end I was
It's
like,
just
okay,
like-
you want to talk anymore. So
Me neither. I was like, I don't care. Do what you do.
Yeah.
do what you
And
gotta
I went
do.
home and I was like, I got nothing. I got nothing else. I mean, that's it.
I have. I've heard of it.
Long morning, that morning. This is a little easier. Being like, you know, this I can do. I can do this.
Excellent.
So,
Yeah, it's too bad. Here, it's like any day could be.
Dan, how are you? Busy, many things, yes, busy. Online? Well, yeah, no, they had an event today, kid event. My kid had an event today.
Nice. Yeah. Still struggling with. Do we need to move down a bit? Sure. We gotta move down one because they need 2 seats here
Okay.
and we're in the way. And so no.
Do they need more seats though?
No, like Dan has to move down. I think, yeah, it's a seat. Oh, all right. So move
Fine.
that. Yeah, just spacing, I guess. Alrighty. I think we'll switch it up. That's good.
Oh, let's go. You're wearing contacts? That's in your glasses. on.
I'm wearing contacts and a wig.
Oh, wow.
The date night tonight. Yeah, I look totally different than
Yeah,
what
yeah,
you're.
it's like, hold on, let's take this.
Yeah, I was like, oh, these people aren't even gonna recognize me. I'm like, well, they're just look. I'm living life. I'm getting it all done at once. I have no time to go after this. You
My
know,
sister,
to
yeah.
go get it done. So I did it yesterday in preparation. Yeah. Gotta do what you gotta do. My gosh, I can't with the dress. It's so cute. Yeah, I would have liked to see some more people. Yeah, that's been pretty cool.
Well, probably all online. How many do you have online? No. Can you tell?
They're
There might be a
streaming.
few people online though.
Aren't they
That
streaming?
would be, no, you won't know that. Zoom, you would have it. We're not having Zoom.
Oh, okay.
Zoom is only for commissioner.
Wait, but this YouTube live stream, you can't see how many people are tuned into the live stream?
People log in, you choose who
You
participates.
should be able to see. You're just recording, not live streaming,
Still see
right?
it though.
Yeah, they could then click on it and see it later. Well, it does say Zoom meeting.
So that's Zoom meeting for her. She's the only one that's allowed to come in.
She's in, yeah.
She's a commissioner.
No, it's just that they're not showing.
It's live streaming and it's on YouTube.
That's the other problem. You know, you sell high, but then you gotta fly it. And then you get caught down in the Cape. Bro. It's smaller than ours. I don't know how you guys-
Me,
I wanted to be there, so I get it. But
I'll help you out. Yeah. I got it.
yep.
I'm Olivera. Oh, thank you. It's all good.
There we go. Commissioner wannabe. I can't log into this. Why?
I'm getting into that neighborhood. They're very nice people. Our
Was-
friends,
For a second, right?
we're also one main road that's like one lane, and the traffic's always terrible. I feel like we're you know, even if we want to fly somewhere, whatever we fly, go to Fort Lauderdale, you can go to Miami. It's like right in the middle. It's like 15 minutes from South Beach, or well, you go to Mid.
We are not missing anyone at this point. Oh, because she's. But I thought you have to push it to talk.
You do.
Like this, it's on. Just leave it on green.
We're now- no,
Because
no.
it is.
It's just a board. We all get a.
That's it.
They're gonna spring it on us before we start. Throw everybody off their rhythm.
Thank you so much.
I'm sorry? Oh, pictures. Yeah.
I can't hear anything that's being said.
Can you hear us, Judy? Yeah, oh, great. Thank you.
Can you hear me? I think so.
Oh, she's muted. She has to unmute.
Hello?
Yeah, I didn't hear Barbara, but I can hear you guys.
Hello?
Hello?
Hello, YouTube.
Hello.
Hey, hey.
Can you hear me? No?
No,
Hello, can you hear me?
hey, keep yours on. That's it. It's on. No, now you're off. Green light is on.
All right. Okay. Now can you hear?
Yes.
Okay, good. Just one other thing. There is more coffee being made and it's decaf. And I'm sorry, but apparently the half and half that my brother sent me for COVID is too old and it's no good. And I apologize. Okay, that's it. We're waiting on another person from the League of Women Voters to come who is going to serve as our timer to let the candidates know how many seconds they have remaining. And the questions asked for the most part after a 3-minute introduction for the candidates that the candidates will make to you. The questions will ensue and the candidates will have 90 seconds to answer the question. There will to be no rebuttals. And I think that our League of Women Voters can talk about this more, the details, because actually we're following the protocol of the League of Women Voters. And I think that we may have some milk coming in for reinforcements right now. So, okay. Do you know what is she coming?
Yes, I'm gonna open it up. I'm gonna open it.
Okay. Oh, yes. Okay, we do have some natural sugar and some creamer for those of you who want it in your coffee. Would you okay, but then you want to take over, Regina? Or, and what's your last name so I can introduce you? Silas. Okay, didn't get that. We're still waiting on one of the representatives from League of Women Voters who is going to serve as our timer. But before that, before we actually begin, another member of the League, Regina Salas, who is here with us, wanted to say a few words. Okay.
And then I would introduce.
Oh, great. Yeah.
That angle over there. Good afternoon.
Those are seconds, not minutes.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Can I have everyone seated, please? Thank you. Thank you for coming to the Biscayne Bay Candidates Commissioners Forum. Everyone who's seated there are candidates, and there's only 2 standing commissioners. Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming to the Biscayne Bay Candidates Commissioners Forum. Biscayne Park.
I'm sorry, that's the way it reads on the paper. My name is Regina Salas, and I'm the secretary for the League of Women Voters, Miami-Dade County. We are excited to be here today to help facilitate the forum, and we also want to thank the local candidates and residents. The League of Women Voters is one of the largest nonpartisan organizations in the United States that encourages the informed and activate participation of citizens in government by educating voters. During elections, we host candidate forums so voters know where their candidates are and where they stand on the issues. I would like to introduce our moderator today. He will be moderating. Michael Hubert. He has been an editor and staff writer for the Chicago Sun-Times, the Louisville Courier Journal, the Miami Herald. Michael also was a journalist professor at Florida International University and associates director of the Knights Foundations Project for writing and journalism. He is a co-author of the college textbook, Words into Flesh, How to Think Like a Writer. He holds a BA, a MA, and a JD, magna cum laude degrees. Michael is a retired attorney and was a partner at a Miami law firm. He was an executive editor of the Daily Business Review and editor-in-chief of the University of Miami Law. So I will hand it over to the moderator and we will pivot from here.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me? Is this thing working? No, it's on. Okay. Now. All right. I am going to introduce the candidates using the name that is on the ballot. So if your nickname is vote for, it's not going to happen. Anyway, Veronica Amsler is here. Mario E. Carozzi. Jonathan Groth. Judy Hamiltonberg is on the TV. Veronica L. Oliveira. Daniel Samario. All right. I'm going to move to the opening statements, and we'll do this in alphabetical order. Each candidate has 3 minutes to make an opening statement, and we're going to start with Veronica Amsler.
Everybody can hear me? Well, thank you so much. Welcome for coming. This is a great opportunity for me to get to know a lot of you and you to get to know us. I'm a born and raised Argentine. About 18 years ago, I moved from Argentina to Miami looking for an opportunity to grow a family and for the American dream, pretty much. And I met it. I met a husband. I met my husband, Eric, and I met in New York. We lived in Argentina, moved here. And since then, for the past 18 years, we've seen an incredible growth, especially in our family. We have 3 kids. I have a 16-year-old, a 13-year-old, and a 10-year-old. And I moved to Biscayne Park when I was literally 9 months pregnant with my last kid. This we found by chance. We didn't know what Biscayne Park was. We heard a lot about Miami Shores. We loved it. We couldn't afford it. And by chance, we landed here. And it has been an incredible ride since. In this 15 past years of professional experience in Miami, I had the chance to work in the areas of marketing, international media, strategic communications planning, and sales. That's my background. In my last role, I was a managing director of our global media agency. And I was responsible for providing the vision and the structure for the company, as well as managing about 50 people and a P&L budget that included a very healthy list of clients. I love my profession. I was very fortunate to work for so long in it, but about 3 years ago, I thought it was too much. And I decided to quit and focus on my family. And since, that's what I've been doing. I was very hectic then. So this was an opportunity for me to get involved in the village. Now I had the time. I started to follow the commission meetings, the budget workshops, and speaking to the neighbors, I realized that I could put the skills that I've gathered for these years maybe to use. This is my opportunity to give back. I wanted to be instrumental in help of the village raise to its full potential. So here are some ideas that I have for that. I want to see us united by a common goal. The sense of community for me is the feeling that we're part of something larger. We need a clear vision. Thank you. We need a clear vision of our priorities into planning so that we can really focus on how we're going to budget for those. I want to lead by example. I've seen a lot of back and forth in terms of different points of views, a lot of bickering in certain meetings. I really want to bring clarity. I want to really bring the opportunity for coordinated collaboration and to race into agreements.
Time is over.
Thank you. It's over? Sorry,
Yes, dear.
sorry.
Mario is next. Hey, you guys hear me? Mario, how are you? I was born in Lima, Peru, and I migrated to Kendall, Miami when I was 8. So I've grown up in the city. I then moved to downtown Miami. I was there for about 12 years. And then I moved to Biscayne Park when we also got pregnant with our second child, who's now 5. We were out of space in a downtown condo. And as you can imagine, a 3-bedroom downtown condo costs more than a house in Miami Shores. So we've been here about 5 years. We bought a decent sized fixer-upper. We're still working on the upping. And I took this opportunity to run for commissioner because I've seen throughout the 5 years that we continue to have a boil the ocean mentality, which is typical in government. But in a government this size, we should be able to do better than that. So I'm looking forward to contributing. I'm excited with all the other commissioners running. I think we all think alike. So hopefully we can bring about change. What I bring to the table is I have a lot of experience leading large teams in a corporate environment, which is a little different. But albeit that, I do understand managing large buckets of money and appropriating them to different segments. You can get things going in an agile fashion. Thank you. Next is Jonathan.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'd just like to say thank you to Barbara and Nancy for spearheading this. I'd like to thank the residents for coming out and submitting questions. I'd like to thank our moderator, Mr. Huber, and I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters and the other candidates for being here a part of this. This is a good opportunity to speak to everyone directly. Just a little bit about my background. My wife and I moved here in 2016 when we were having our daughter. We've now had 2 kids here. They're born and raised here in Biscayne Park. We've loved this neighborhood. We found it to be very unique, felt very welcoming. We love the neighbors here. It's a very friendly and safe environment. So I knew right away when I moved here that I wanted to be involved and help the community in any way that I could, which led me to volunteer for the foundation board, of which I've been a part for the last about 1.5 years now. So getting some experience in learning how the village works and meeting a lot of the people that volunteer their time has been very rewarding. And it's been an experience that has led me to start my candidacy for the commission position. It feels kind of a natural progression. I do feel that my background, I've been a practicing attorney here in South Florida for the last 10 years. I have a background in service. It's a profession of service to clients and service to others. Especially very recently, the type of work that I do is in helping defrauded investors recoup monies that were stolen from them. So I work a lot with people in need and people that need help. So I've been very involved in that aspect, and it's led me to contribute here in the village. And it's something that I want to continue and want to bring to the commission and bring to the residents here.
You have 60 seconds.
I feel very strongly that this is a public service position and that input from the residents is the most important thing that we can do as potential commissioners and public servants. So that's a very big part of the platform on which I'm running, that to hear from neighbors and hear from residents and do everything we can to serve them. So I appreciate your time here, and I'm looking forward to continuing this setting here today. Thank you very much.
To hear from Judy, can you hear us?
Okay. Hello. I hope you can all hear me. I want to thank the League of Women Voters and Nancy and Barbara for putting this event together. I am a physical therapist. My name is Judy Hamiltonberg. I am currently on your commission. I am a University of Miami graduate, and for most of my professional career, I specialize in teaching people with disabilities to drive a car or a van. I moved from Biscayne Park to Coconut Grove in 1996 due to the crime rate in the area of the Grove I lived. I was looking for a safer place, and I found it here. So supporting our police is very important to me. I became politically active in 2000 when I was having issues getting a building permit for work I was doing on my home. Our building official at the time told me clearly that he was not issuing a building permit to a woman. After 3 months of attending commission meetings and stating my issues, I was given my permit and the village had a new building official. When I discovered that our public works employees were working out of an unsafe environment, I went to the commission and was appointed to the committee that designed our current public works building. I was also instrumental in getting public works the loading device they needed to lift the heavy loads they were lifting by hand as well. For years, I was on the code review board, updating building codes to allow for metal roofs, allow for fencing on corner lots so that the citizens may use some of their extensive yards, which were previously unavailable to them. For several years, I worked as a poll worker here, ensuring that our voting was safe and fair. I was also a member of the Biscayne Park Civic Club and served as its president for several years. I have been on this commission for the past 2 years and would like to stay on for another term, as I'd like to ensure that the projects we have begun get completed. Here in our little village, we are notorious for starting things that never get finished. These unfinished projects are not just wasteful of our time, but they cost us considerable money. Looking to the future, I think it's critical to move forward on our stormwater projects as global warming and sea level rise is a reality. I'd like to address our road conditions and for surface repaving, even if we have to do it 1 street per year. I'd like to see our record keeping become digital, as finding records in the massive rooms of boxes is nearly impossible. I'd like to ensure disabled access to the log cabin improves, and with it, our lighting of the area. I'd also like to see the village address some of its needs moving forward with solar to save money for our residents and help our environment. Thank you.
Next is
Excuse me,
Veronica.
everyone. Hello, excuse me, everyone. Each candidate has 3 minutes. We're gonna sit someone from the League of Women Voters in the front row so that you can be able to see, because I don't like interrupting you guys in the middle of your speaking. So Maribel is gonna sit in the front and she's gonna hold up the cue cards, the time cards. Therefore, Barbara isn't cutting in the middle of your speech. Thank you for cooperating with us.
For Veronica.
Michael, I'll take it over to you. Michael, I'll take it over to you. This mic isn't that good. I gotta literally put my mouth to it. And I'm real cautious about that.
We don't do that these days, right? Hi, everyone. Happy Saturday. I'm Veronica and Veronica L. Oliveira. And along with the other Veronica, we're running for the board, right? 2 Veronicas today. So I am a native Floridian. I grew up in Ocala, Florida, with a Cuban American mom. So we had a lot of family down here. So pretty native to Miami as well. I've been involved in Biscayne Park since about 2006 as a community friend when quite a few of my personal network of friends moved over here. When we moved from Miami Beach, right? You start your real life over here in Biscayne Park, where it's beautiful and the trees are aplenty, and there's a respect for nature. So I came along buying my house just a few years ago. So I'm a resident full-time just the last 3 years, but again, have been involved in the neighborhood for quite some time. Having a young family, of course, I'm looking to, just kind of have a seat at the table and see how I can help improve relations. I think a big part of what's facing us right now is building some unity back in the neighborhood, as well as obviously upholding our shared vision, right? When I read through the charter, when I read through the comprehensive plan, I feel very much that we are not at odds. Anyone in this neighborhood, everyone has that goal in mind of preserving nature and of, living in this family environment. So that's what I got with regard to an opening. I can't wait to hear your questions and get to know all of you more. Thanks.
Joel Samaria.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to thank all the residents and leader voters and Nancy and Barbara for putting on this event. I'm a United States Vietnam veteran. I have moved from here from New York City. I'm a business owner. I lived in North Miami, and I crossed the street was the city of North Biscayne Park. So I moved across the street and became a resident of Biscayne Park. I've been here since 2010. I've always participated in village activities as a resident and as a business owner. While I was running for commissioner in 2018, I set 5 goals that I wanted to achieve. With the help of the commission, we achieved those goals. One of my main goals that I want to do is to help lower taxes without hurting the services of Biscayne Park. I want to improve lighting in the village. I want to encourage residents to assist in the village. I want the residents to participate and actually know what's going on. As I do in my business, participation by the residents is the most important thing. Because if you don't know what's going on, then things get snuck underneath the table and you're not achieving what we want. There's a lot of things that since I've been on this commission, and I'll give credit to this commission, we have accomplished a lot of things. There is a lot of things that we still need to accomplish. And hopefully, one of the things is going to be unity. In our last commission, we didn't have that. Hopefully, we're going to have that with the new commission that comes forward. We say that every single year, but every single year it doesn't happen. I'm looking forward to hearing questions. I always tell people when I'm up here, I'm not a great person to speak, but I always tell people, listen to what I say. It might come out the wrong way. Ask me what I meant by that, and I will be glad to explain it. Thank you.
Ready to move on to opening statements?
Yes, we're ready to move on to the next one.
So we'll start taking them in alphabetical order with Veronica.
You have to bring it to you.
Oh. Okay, we're going to start with opening statements with Veronica Amsler.
You just gave opening
I
statement.
mean, yeah, we're going to go to the questions. Wake up, wake up. Right, and this
I would like-
question goes
I'm
to
sorry.
Veronica.
No. Before we get
Amsler.
started,
And then on the other way, we'll go back reverse order.
pardon me, Michael, before we get started, I want to remind you all about the rules. Each candidate will have 90 seconds to speak. Maribel will be doing the time cards, and she will notify everyone. and no rebuttals. Thank you.
Okay, the first question for Veronica Amsler is what makes you best suited for the role of commissioner?
Thank you. That's a great question. So when I was going about the experience I've gathered as a managing director in a different company, I felt the role was very similar to the one that our village manager carries now. He is the CEO of our city, and he has to turn around to a set of commissioners to discuss the day-to-day and the direction. That was my role in my previous job. So I felt, knowing that and knowing how hot that chair is, it's easier to relate to and turn around and ask the right questions. When you have the knowledge of having navigated budget meetings, really going deep into why we're spending, what we're spending, figuring out those priorities, all of those details, I think, and in my previous experience, I had the opportunity to do that. So I can connect with his role. So as a commissioner now I can do that in a more structured way. My idea of a commissioner is that we will have the opportunity to mediate also a lot on what the residents' issues are really. And through this connection with, I'm sorry, I'm trying to see what number I'm at. Okay. And with this relationship that we create with the village manager, he's actually the one that's going to go ahead and implement. So I feel that experience gave me the opportunity to really know how to navigate all the hardship that the city has to do with managing this budget. And I think, again, it comes first from the residents. I'm hoping we have so much technology in place that we can use to pull your questions in, to really ask you about what the concerns are. And although we already know, we have a set of them already laid down in the table that we see and we hear about in the current commissions, I feel we still have a better job to do to put data behind those things, and so that everything that comes clean to the agenda are things that are really relying on the data that we pull, not just our perceptions of what we feel the issues are. I had a lot of those experience navigating when I was in my previous role. So I think now, in coordination with the rest of the commissioners, we actually can activate to find the solutions that we need. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Same.
Okay. Okay.
Are they 90 seconds or 3 minutes, just to be clear?
You have the appropriate cards. Yeah. Okay. Same question goes out to Mario. What makes you best suited for the role of commissioner?
So 90 seconds, right? Okay. I think I bring about a lot of curiosity, a lot of ideation to the job. I manage a team of about 120 strong individuals. We're all part of digital within Subway. I did a similar role in Royal Caribbean, and I tend to serve that team as a servant leader. So I like to listen and then build opinions based on what I hear. I don't believe in dictator type of management, and I think that sometimes folks in this side of the table can lead that way. And that's one of the reasons why, even though I have ideas around traffic and safety, I don't want to say that I'm going to stick to those ideas as I get in the job. I want to first hear from you guys. I put a survey out on my website to get more information to see what concerns you guys. And then as a collaboration of all of us, determine what are the first 3 or 4 things that we should tackle this next year, and then go year by year after that. And those ideas could change. So again, I bring about curiosity. I bring about open-mindedness and extensive leadership in large projects.
Thank you. Thank you. Same question goes to Jonathan. What makes you best suited for the role of commissioner?
I think that it's probably a 3-part answer. I think one, first and foremost, is my experience and volunteering here in the village with the foundation board, where we work very hard to set out goals that are driven by specific objectives. We set a plan, we set a very clear plan, and we know how to execute on that plan. So I think that translates very well from the foundation board to working on the commission. That's one of the main things that we've done with the foundation over the last year and a half that I've been a part of it. And I think that we've done that very well. I think the other thing is just my background in the legal profession. It's allowed me well, you have to work and you have to collaborate with other people, other attorneys, people that are difficult to work with, people on the other side. And you have to work together and you have to find common ground if you want to resolve issues. So that's a big part of my job. And that's what I think translates well to working on a commission board, as it does, working in the foundation. Part of that as well is just reading, comprehending large data, efficiency, all those things are part of my day-to-day job. And I think that translates very well to working on a commission. So I think that probably is the best answer I can give.
Thanks for your brevity. Question goes to Judy.
Okay.
What
Hi,
makes you best suited for the role?
All right. I've been a small business owner for over 30 years, which gives me an idea of budgets and how things operate in a business. I've lived many, many years in this village. I hear the residents, I understand their concerns, and I share many of them. And I'm partially retired at this point, which gives me a lot of time to do the things I need to do. I am a board member for the League of Cities, which is an organization of small municipalities that helps us to get together and fight against the county and other larger municipalities to make sure that our voices get heard and that our concerns are not just swept under the table. So I have the time to put into it, as well as the desire to do the job. Thank you.
Thank you. Veronica Oliveira, what makes you best suited for the role of commissioner?
Thank you. It is a great question, and I have similar answers to some of my co-candidates. I'll speak to my experience first. As a project manager for a major development firm here in South Florida, I have a lot of experience with the many moving parts in order to complete that have to get along and find solutions in order to bring a project to completion. I'm very comfortable in that role. For the last 15 years, I have worked in the insurance industry, first as an agent and later as a carrier rep. So I'm very aware of issues that face our drivers, our homeowners, our renters. There's some specifics to South Florida, which all of you are somewhat familiar with in any case. I'm very organized in the way that I approach issues. I know that I don't know everything, so I feel very comfortable relying on the resources that this village has at its disposal in order to move forward and do something right, hopefully the first time. I'm an avid reader and am prepared to come to every meeting knowing to the best that I can what the subject matter and the agenda items are actually proposing. I agree with Mario about serving residents. It's really difficult for everyone to show up on any given day. And I think we can use technology to our advantage when it comes to those types of things. I would say my greatest strength is collaboration. So I look forward to collaborating with the existing board as well as the newbies that come on. Thank you.
Thank you. Daniel Samaria, what makes you best suited for the role of commissioner?
Good afternoon. Again, thank you for coming. I have experience as the commissioner for the last 4 years and as a business owner for the last 20 years. I have been involved in the community since I've moved from Biscayne Park in the business and in and community events. As a businessman, as a resident, I am always been willing to listen. One of my biggest things is I like to listen to what the residents say. I like to talk to residents and I get their ideas. I'm always willing to learn. I'm always willing to listen to, even though we don't agree. And I think at the last commission, it proved it. We don't always agree what we need to achieve, but when it comes down to it, we finally, with the vote, I do, vote on it. I don't always have to agree with the commission and base it upon what my feelings are. I always put the residents first. I have worked hard during this campaign, walking around door to door, because that's very important to me. And so community involvement is very important. I think that as a commissioner, you need to be involved in this community to understand what the residents' needs and wants are. And I'm hoping to continue that, hoping to get another 4 years to where I can continue achieving what I hope is what the residents want. And accountability is the most important thing to me that I have for my business. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, now we're going to have a little more concrete question, a little less abstract. So Veronica Ansler, what are the 3 most important issues facing Biscayne Park?
Thank you. So that's a good question. So there are many issues facing Biscayne Park. I've been meeting with a lot of residents and really see that it really depends on each corner. We all face with different realities, and it depends really from where you stand, how you view them. I've heard the roads not being paved. I've heard flood management being one of the key issues. I've heard communication being an issue. I would say for me, I would structure them because, again, they're all important to address. But right now, we have to be clear. Some of them are maybe an opportunity to tackle them short, some other mid, and some other in a long-term view. Flood management is a huge issue for Biscayne Park, especially for those residents that get water into their homes every time we have a storm. So this is something we need to tackle. But we have small budgets, and this is a very ambitious project. So we really have to think long-term and start acting now. That's one of the main issues. The second issue I would say comes along with that, and it's if you wish, the lack of communication I see in the village right now. And I see, some may say it's not really that much of an issue. I see it as an issue because it's more of an opportunity to bring the community together.
You're out of time, sorry.
Thank you.
Okay, the same question goes to Mario. What are the 3 most important issues facing Biscayne Park?
Hey, thanks. So I'm gonna kind of piggyback off Veronica on the flood issue. Every time we get a rain shower, we tend to start like holding on to our tables and see, okay, what's gonna happen to my house? I heard a story that one family had to leave their house for about 2 or 3 weeks because their house was underwater. This is a problem that I've researched a lot online, and we see the water's rising and all this good stuff. We rely on septic tanks that are gonna eventually lift up. And if we don't start planning on things today, even if it's gradual change, then when the time comes, we won't be able to address it. And then we'll have to leave our houses and figure something out. 60 seconds. So road safety is a big hazard as well. I've heard horror stories from one of my good friends, Mike, who lives over in 6th Avenue. Right at the beginning of the North Miami entrance, there's been a lot of accidents. People just drive by really fast. And we have challenges because we don't control that road completely, but I think there are creative ways to mitigate that problem. The third for me will be safety. And it's a combination of road safety and 30 seconds and hazardness within the cars, right? Because at night, I don't feel safe walking with my children or my dog or anybody else. I think we have an issue with the maintenance of the roads, the lighting in some streets, not all the streets. And I think there's many combinations of ideas that we can bring about to bring walkability to the park.
Thank you, thank you. All right, Jonathan. 3 issues most important facing Biscayne Park.
I look at it as two separate answers, one being larger issues and the second part of that being more specific issues. The larger issues that I think the village faces with its local government is organization and efficiency within the commission and within the other boards. Just to be able to make sure that each of those boards or arms of this village is operating properly. By way of example, I was told a story one time about code compliance not being able to enforce citations that were written because the proper paperwork wasn't done correctly. Those things I think need to be corrected, because if you're going to do them wrong and you're not going to be able to follow through on them, don't do them at all. So I think that's important. A lot of the more specific issues, I think, are the issues that have already been raised by the other candidates. Everyone is concerned with flooding. That's a major issue. I see neighbors' houses with their subfloors underwater after a rainstorm, and it's heartbreaking to see that, and to see people come in to the commission meetings and say they've been displaced with small kids or elderly couples can't be in their home because of that. That's a very important issue. Traffic on 6th has come up a lot. I know people are very concerned with that. We have a traffic study that was just commissioned by our current board, which is great. So being able to use that data to drive a solution there, I think, is very important. And there are some other issues with landscaping, native trees, things of that nature. Those are all important as well. There are obviously many. I'm out of time. Thank you.
Thank you. Judy, can you hear me?
Hi. I would have to put my number one priority is our stormwater problems. As we do have flooding when we get large rain events, I think the security of people's homes from the storms is critical. And I think Fort Myers was a prime example of what needs to be looked forward to. Granted, we're more inland than them, but we still need to worry about stormwater. The second thing I would put on my priority is septic to sewer. We've been working with the county and trying to get them to assist us in providing that, since it's a very expensive problem and very expensive to convert over, and we have none of the infrastructure to do that. I also think that our roadways need to be a little bit safer. Our potholes are not really very good. Some of that will be taken care of when we do the repaving of the roads after the stormwater drains are put in. But I think those are it. And I'd stick in a number 4, and that is taking care of our records and digitizing them, because they're very difficult to go through boxes to try and find our records now. It gets very frustrating for residents not being able to get the records on their property.
Thank you, Judy. Now for Daniel Samaria, what are the 3 most important issues facing Biscayne Park?
The ones I'm going to be talking about are ones that the present commission is working on. So we still have to do those items, but I think it's important since I'm already a commission. One is our roads. I think our roads are very important. A lot of the candidates here talked about it, but that's what the commission's working on. On our sewer system, we need to fix that. A lot of it has to do with the septic tanks. A lot of the septic tanks having problems. So we need to get the drainage, we need to get the roads. And one of the things is lowering the taxes. I think we have in the last meeting, not the one this, but last budget, I got the commission to go from a 9.7 to a 9.5. And as I talked to the city manager in the beginning when we were doing budget season, I was trying to keep it at 9.5. We did that, and I wanted to see if we can get it lowered. I tried to get it lowered to 9.4. I didn't have the votes. One of our present commissioners made a big thing about next door, about that I changed from 9.4 to 9.45. Well, what they don't understand is that for the final budget reading, you have to be unanimous. So if I was to say I wanted to stick it at 9.4, I have to come up with $29,000. I did have the $29,000, but there was no sense of bringing it up because we needed to have a unanimous vote, and I wasn't able to change it. So in the future, I'm hoping to lower the millage without hurting our services. Thank you.
Thank you. And Veronica Oliveira. 3 most important issues facing the park.
Right, I'm going to probably repeat many of the things my fellow candidates said, right? We're all here, we're all living in here and experiencing life here. I do agree strongly that the most important step is to get back to building some village unity, and that includes, you know, upping the organization and efficiency of our records keeping, how we communicate with residents and amongst ourselves in our work environments in the village office, as well as here on the board. I think it's really important for residents and contractors and anyone doing business with us to have a level of ease of use that you know, brings our village where it should be in terms of the times. Obviously, road safety comes in secondly, and to me, that includes the flooding issues, the storm drains, you know, Northeast 6th Avenue, the issues are real. I think we have to segment out our neighborhood and see what kind of solutions we can come up with to increase traffic safety. I think the road repaving is a really positive step because I think a visual marker for folks with regard to a bike trail or exercise trail or you know, avoiding potholes. And I think all of those will bring a really positive immediate effect to the village residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, all the questions aren't for all the candidates. Here's a question that is going to those who are incumbents. Let's start with Mr. Samario. During your tenure, what initiatives have you spearheaded, and which of those are you particularly proud of?
One of the things that I'm proud of is the millage, to get it going down from 9.7 to 9.5. That's important without hurting our services. I set 5 goals that I wanted to accomplish in 2018, and with the commission's help, we achieved all those goals. So that's my most important is working with the commission as a whole and trying to listen to what the residents want and trying to achieve those. We still have a lot of work to do, and that's one of the things that we need to do. Thank you.
Thank you. The same question goes to Ms. Hamiltonberg. What initiative have you spearheaded, and which are you particularly proud of?
Well, I've spearheaded quite a few things, including the conversation on swales and bringing up many of the code review things that we have done in the past. I also was instrumental in updating the village's vulnerable persons list and did assist people with getting vaccines during COVID, and even was making masks during COVID to get people protected. I am a member of the board of directors of League of Cities, which works with all the smaller cities and some of the larger cities to make sure that we have a voice in the county, and that I'm very proud of as well. Thank you.
Thank you. And here's a question for Commissioner Samario. Can you explain and expand upon your lawsuit against the village of Biscayne Park, the former mayor, village manager, and village attorney?
First off, I'm still in the process of that, but just to set one record straight, the village of Biscayne Park is not in a lawsuit. I don't have them in a lawsuit. And I cannot discuss that because we're in the process of it. That is, so I'm not going to discuss that for legal reasons. There is no lawsuit against the village of Biscayne Park. It's as simple as that. There's never one against the village of Biscayne Park.
Former mayor, village manager, and village attorney.
Pending, still on.
The background on it.
It's still on, it's still pending. Can't discuss that.
You're not going to answer the question then. Thank you.
As an attorney, you should know that. And I'm very surprised that you allowed that question to go forward.
I didn't watch Perry Mason, sorry. Many former commissioners agree that the time commitment is 20 hours a week or more. How do you plan to manage the responsibility of commissioner along with the other commitments you have? This goes to Veronica Amsler.
Can you repeat the
For
question?
sure. Many former commissioners agree that the time commitment for the position is about 20 hours a
Yep.
week. How do you plan to manage those 20 hours a week along with the other responsibilities and commitments you have?
Okay, great, thank you. So 20 hours a week, it's about a very narrow way to see it. I feel it's a lot more than that. I actually have experienced it so far by campaigning. There is a lot of research you need to do to actually stand in front of an issue and have an opinion in front of an issue. And the good thing is that in my case now, since the last 3 years, I'm a stay-at-home mom. So I got all the time in the world. This has become my #1 project, and I've been enjoying it very, very much. So I actually don't think it's a 20-hour a month sort of a thing. I actually would say it's a lot more than that that goes on. It's a lot of research again, and it's a lot of connecting with residents and prior preparation for each one of the commission meetings. And I got all the time to be involved.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Same question goes to Mario. How are you going to manage village commitments with other responsibilities?
Just to clarify, did you say 20 a month or 20 a week?
20 a week.
A week, okay. So I don't have the benefit of being a stay-at-home parent. Maybe one day I will. But today I do a lot of things outside of work. I'm currently taking a leadership course that my companies are sending me to. It's taking me 3-4 hours an evening for 6 months. That will cease to happen in November, which will free up 3 to 4 hours of my day today. Nonetheless, I do have a job that's very demanding. I do travel somewhat, about 20% a month. But traveling is a benefit because when I'm away from home, I have a lot more time to do other career activities after work. So I think it's manageable. I'm not used to just doing a 9-to-5 job to begin with. I've always taken a heavier load than most folks in my placement or my age group. So I don't see an issue with dedicating 15, 20 hours a week.
Thank you. Jonathan, 20 hours. How are we going to find those hours?
Luckily, I have plenty of experience juggling a lot of different balls, different caseloads. You find the time. To be quite honest, I've volunteered my time with the foundation. I'll admit it's not quite 20 hours a week, but I'm used to finding the time. I'm used to making time to do what needs to be done. And if I didn't think that I could, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. I've worked a very large caseload as an attorney for 10 years, and I've become very good at managing my time and being as efficient as possible. So I'm very comfortable with my ability to be able to do that.
How many hours a year do you bill? No, scratch.
You really want to know?
Same question goes to Judy.
All right. I have been doing the job and putting in the time. I am pretty much retired and do just a little bit of per diem part-time stuff. I have no difficulty putting in the time now, and I don't see that it's going to be a problem going forward. So I don't see that as an issue.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Same question to Veronica Oliveira. Where are you going to find 20 hours a week?
Thanks so much. Currently, I am at home. I work from home. I do have a brand new litter of bunnies, so that will be something that takes a little time over the next few weeks before they're ready to go to their new homes. But I very much look forward to. I already dedicate time to this village in terms of what I see coming up on the agendas and researching. Already, I feel like if I'm on the board, at least I have the benefit of the resources that are on the payroll for the board in order to form a more a better decision on what I bring to the table. So I look forward to using all of those resources. And again, 20 hours, it doesn't seem like very much time, especially if you think about the events and such like that we end up participating in. It's where we live. And I do think that since 2020, everyone has kind of centered more of their lives around their home and their neighborhood. And I do believe it's a positive thing. And that's part of why I've made the decision to commit to this.
Thank you. Dan Samario, same question.
I'm self-employed. I'm able to put my own hours. I do more than 20 hours with all the participations that I do in the village and on the commission. So I give more than that amount of time. So I don't continue to have that problem doing it in the future.
Okay, we're going to ask Veronica Amsler, what are your plans to make Biscayne Park more resilient to climate change?
That's a big one. So climate change is here. I think we most of us know that, but we have a board. The resiliency board is actually been working for ideas to bring to the commission every month so that they can move forward these ideas into the agendas and to the implementation, hopefully to the budget. Some of the ideas that they have actually are quite phenomenal. I don't necessarily think we are in a stage in our budgets to really deal with climate change in a way that we can make an impact. I mean, it's a big, big question. Because that's coming and it's affecting everywhere, but we can do things in our planning and our future planning and everything that every dollar that goes behind this board of sustainability to help mediate. A way of that, it was discussed, for example, a different sort of drains and the homes are built. And so the new developments have a way to actually mitigate flood. So that's an amazing thing. Again, I don't have much time. This is a big issue. I don't think it can be tackled in 60 seconds or 90 seconds. And I don't think we have the budget to actually go ahead and mitigate change of climate change, but actually support the board that we already have.
Thank you. Mario, what can the village do to be more resilient as far as climate change?
So same question? Okay. I will agree that the budget is a challenging issue. I think when we established a homestead exemption, it was a double-edged sword, right? Because costs keep going up, but then the rate that folks pay kind of stabilizes at 3%. I look forward to using it more in 20 years. So I like it. But it does pose a challenge to what you can do on a yearly basis. So what can we do to make it more resilient? I think we need to move with climate, not fight against it. I think climate is a lot bigger than anyone in South Florida can tackle. But you could take there's different ideas that I've seen posted. I mean, you've seen we're gonna put pumps in place nowadays. That's a new idea that came out on board. My beach is doing that for a long time. I think it's limited in nature, however. I think that the way that we build our upcoming roads, hopefully when we pave them, if we get to do that, that'll be great. And I think we need to consider the different levels at which we're building things to let the water flow in certain directions back to the canal. Again, this is not a topic that we can tackle in 90 seconds, but it's a topic that I'm really passionate about as an engineer, which is my trade. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, Jonathan. Any questions?
It's very clear that the budget may not provide for an immediate permanent solution, but that doesn't mean that we can't come up with a solution that's implemented in phases. If we can get something that will help move water away from homes, even if we can't get rid of it entirely, because let's be clear, or let's be honest here, we have a lot of standing water. And there may not be a drainage solution specifically that's going to completely eliminate the standing water here, but there are things that we could do to help mitigate those problems. I spoke to a resident that's newer to Biscayne Park and she worked in environmental solutions on how to naturally move water to places that it needs to be where it's going to promote drainage. Those are the type of alternative solutions, maybe other than just let's get more pumps or let's call more trucks or let's dig more drains. Those are the type of solutions that may be within budget that need to be explored a little more significantly. So I think that those are the areas that we should be exploring too. But I think if we're going to look at something a little more permanent or something a little larger, then it would probably need to be done in phases. But I would certainly be interested in exploring those options.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Judy, what can the village do to be more resilient vis-a-vis climate change?
Well, we're already working. We've got, I believe it was $1.34 million from the federal government in the last act that they passed that will give us money towards, I believe, 5, if not 6 storm drains to be put in. We've been working with the county, trying to get them to assist us with the septic to sewer, which would also give us some storm drains. We've been discussing with residents how they can raise some of their property up. It's not like because the property is low, the water is going to run somewhere else. Our residents on our street have done some raising of the land by putting mulch or dirt down to level it up. And that acts more of a sponge to absorb the water that comes. So we don't have as much street flooding as we've had in the past. And we did purchase a pump this year that is now operational that will help us when we get areas where the water does not resolve, that we can see how this pump works to help us, and we can budget for future pumps if needed. But it's a big amount of money that we aren't going to have ourselves. And this is why our integration with League of Cities and the county is critical for us, because we need their support and we need them to know we need their support. Thank you.
Thank you. Veronica Oliveira, what can we do as a village to be more resilient to climate change?
I'm likely going to parrot a lot of what has already been said. I know that we have a sustainability board, which I think is a huge leap forward in terms of neighborhoods beginning to take this on. I absolutely would plan to vet, support, sponsor, any proposals that come from that board. And additionally, I think that if we all, I know I am a consciously living citizen. I think if we all continue to do some of those things, Judy mentioned what people are doing in their own front yards to sort of sponge some water. My understanding is we might be able to get a second pump so that it's out there right away on multiple streets, because we do have a couple of areas that are so heavily hit in our neighborhood. So absolutely, I would support those purchases. And yes, of course, we have budget constraints, so phases work well, right? I think we're pretty much on the page about that, everyone up here, that we're taking it fairly seriously, right, as a community.
Thank you. Thank you. Which raises the question, how do I get the canal out of my backyard? But and Samaria.
As Commissioner Judy has expressed, we at the commission are already working on that. We've been working on it, and we've been listening to the former ecology board. I still can't get used to calling that new name. Anyway, so we need to listen, and we do listen to the residents. We are working on getting grants and getting other areas. The drainage, which is what we're working on, the septic tank areas. We're getting more trees in here, which I think trees, I'm not the greatest person to know about the environment, but I'm willing to listen and learn. The trees have a big thing to do it. So the commission is already working on it, and I hope to be on the commission to where I can continue to work on it. But the most important thing is listening to the residents because it's their homes and they know better what's to do to protect it. Thank you.
Thank you. This goes to Veronica Amsler. What do you believe the relationship should be between the commission and the village manager?
Oh, that's a great question. I think I spoke about this earlier, but to me, it's a very integrated relationship, the one we have to build. But our role as a commissioner is to provide the direction for the manager as well as the oversight. We are the ones that we should be telling the manager in this case what our priorities are. And in return, the manager respond to those priorities at a budget level, at a planning level, and we provide oversight of that. At every meeting I see the different reports the manager brings to the commission to check on. That's our opportunity to go into the details. And that's the oversight I was referring to. That's something I haven't seen one of the things that really brought me into this candidacy was the opportunity to think in that perspective, us as a direction, as commissioners giving that direction versus the manager leading us. In this last budget, if you all know, the budget was approved based on the recommendations from the manager. I would have loved to see a commission first come together in agreement on what those priorities were first before the budget was put together. So I think, again, as we lead the priorities and the manager is the one to implement those priorities, and we work together to make that happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Mario, what should the relationship be between the commission and the village manager?
I think the division of labor there is between strategical and tactical. So I think commissioners are in charge of providing the strategy and the roadmap for the city village. And the manager needs to take that and break that up into tactical action items to then deliver back to the commission board. It's a server leader role again. It's no different than what I do today at work. So I think a lot of communication, a lot of data needs to be flowing back and forth. But again, the division is between commissioners need to provide clear directional strategies that they can be converted to tactical items.
Thank you. Thank you. Jonathan, same question.
The relationship between anyone that's helping to serve the community needs to be one of collaboration. You know, we hear that word a lot. But anyone that's here serving the village, volunteering their time, or in a position of leadership in the village needs to be working towards the same goal. And that goal, of course, is service to the residents. So it needs to be a relationship that understands the priorities and understands the goal of everyone here working for the community and for the residents. So that's very important. There needs to be an understanding between anyone working for the village that we are working towards the same goal. So it's working together, it's identifying key issues, and it's being on the same page. If there's disagreements, then those disagreements should be discussed and worked out together. But it needs to be one that everyone has the same understanding and works together to better our community.
Thank you. Okay, Judy, did you get the question?
I get the question. Our village manager did not do our budget entirely himself. The budget was put together by staff and by the supervisors of the different departments. Parks put together their budget, police put together their budget, administration put together their budget. The manager made it clear and concise and put it together for us. Generally, I have weekly meetings with the manager to go over what's been going on and what we need to deal with. I will get over there and spend more time with him if I need to, more than once a week. If there's something else that's come up, or he's always available by phone. His business is to do the daily day-to-day operations of the village. Our direction is our role, I believe, is to give him direction and a place to go. And we have the power of the budget to give him the money to do things. putting things in our budget that we have not funded for, which we do have on this year's budget, because nobody wanted to go higher than 9.5, is not going to get things done. But our job is to oversee what the manager does, to be in contact with him so we're aware of what's going on in the village, and
Time is
to
up.
let him work. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Same question to Veronica Oliveira.
Collaboration comes up for me big time with when I think about this role and the relationship between the village manager and the commission board, as well as hopefully to a large extent the residents as well. I believe that the commission's responsibility is to provide our priority list, direction, and oversight, while the village manager's role is to execute and be accountable for the execution. I believe he's meant to also give consistent feedback and reports so that the commission can make decisions about priority adjustments as needed along the way.
Thank you. Same question to Mr. Samaria.
Our charter says that, well, that the commission hires the city manager, but the city manager runs the village. We need to have oversight, of course. The commission needs to oversight and be sure that the city manager is doing what he would like to do. But we also have to remember that each commission only has 20%. And in the past, we have had city managers, especially one city manager, that will reflect upon if he has 3 that support him, he basically listens to those 3. If he has 2 that doesn't support him, he doesn't listen to those 2. This city manager has put together a budget, a workshop that has been really good in the format that he's done. Even got some commissioners that were very surprised on how he did it. So we got together and he listened to what the commissioners had to say. He gave us a lot of input and we put it together, but we can't micromanage. We have to let the city manager run it. Now, we have to hold him accountable. That's very important. If he's not doing his job when his time comes for his evaluation, that's what we would do. But we have to be willing to remember the commissioners that do not run this village, the city manager runs it. Thank you.
Just so I can know how to pace ourselves, do we have questions from the audience? Yeah, let's take a 5-minute break.
Hold on a second. We'll come back on at 3:40. It's gonna be 10 minutes.
Hi. Hi. Surfing, 111. Yeah.
Michael, you were practice down here for? Oh, commercial, okay. I did some insurance work on both sides. It is, mostly receiverships right now, where a lot of our work is. So it's a totally different role. I used to work with a guy right here on 120. It is, yeah. It's a lot of fraudulent transfer work right now to try and claw back money from the state. I just brought a stack of them. We've got a bunch. Sure. A lot of that type of work, but it's interesting. It's a whole lot different than insurance.
Yeah. But it's good practice if you do want to sit on the commission. We'll be like that every time, just about. Maybe not quite so much. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, it's all good. No.
No?
I didn't. No.
Stuff that I never thought I'd be doing when I was in court, arguing motions to compel. Now
I just figured, we get a bunch of good questions, and then you can see how people handle themselves publicly at the commission day and that's gives a good impression. Now, I don't know if the specific questions are going to get to the root of anything in 90 seconds or 3 minutes, or you know what I mean?
Once you get in the job, when you learn, you may change the way you think, because you'll learn.
And I was thinking of questions for like 2 weeks. Hey, Richard. I was thinking of questions to submit, but all of my questions were so, I wouldn't say jaded, but like leading, you're like, I feel this way. So how do you agree with me or not? So they were biased, my questions. Yeah, they were heavily biased, my questions.
all these nuanced issues,
Because I have,
they all come up.
Oh, yeah? Oh, that sounds good. Yeah, absolutely. I'm near you. Aren't you 6? The other side of 6, but on where are you? I'm on 6 and 119.
I'm on 8 and 110.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna do all like 6
Yeah.
ripping. Probably do some yard signs, door hangers.
I
Sounds good, man.
a little bit of that background myself.
Yeah.
I wrote for a publication down. It was more of a lifestyle publication. It was called Ask Men, like Esquire, men's lifestyle. So it was about events. Funny enough, I did actually get in touch with the group that Dean. That's it. Yes. Yeah, I was talking with one of their editors down in Miami because I haven't written the fiction I work for. So I got in touch with ALM. I said, we need work for the Miami office. I would love to do it part time if you guys have the space. I didn't go anywhere, but yeah. Very fun thing to do. I did it. Yeah, I said if you ever have a part-time editor position over, you can help, let me know. Hi, how are you? Question real quick before we leave.
Thank you so much. My name is Santino with the league also. Thank you so much for moderating. I appreciate that. I hope you can read them. They're a little hard to understand. You can just like read them and then the person can ask for themselves.
Hey, hello, can everyone have a seat, please? Excuse me, can everyone take a seat, please? Can everyone take a seat, please?
Yeah.
You should hear the choices that we were given before we left the house.
Right. Huh. Right. Can everyone take a seat, please? We passed out some cards, and the cards will enlist some questions that you all have. And we're gonna also continue off our original script. I believe there's 2 more questions left, and then we'll take some remarks from the audience. Thank you. We passed out some cards during the break. I'm not sure that anyone connect with Marisol, and she has the cards, and he has the cards already, and that's the questions, the continuing questions, and we also have our own questions that we will continue with too. So thank you all. Let's continue.
Ready to resume? Got some very good questions from the audience here. We'll start with,
Quite interesting.
Al, how about now? Oh, great, wonderful. We'll start with Veronica Amsler. What are your, still can't hear me? I don't want anybody to hear me. Veronica, what are your thoughts about the noise and pollution from commercial lawn services in the village? should there lawn services in the village, landscapers? Should their equipment be regulated and their trucks that block the road? So generally, what about the commercial landscapers that take over the village streets?
Okay. The pollution of the noise. So that, I mean, it is what it is. We've been dealing with this for years now. To be honest with you, I don't think it's a priority we need to focus on. This is not something I would really dive into, bringing a plan for. Reason being is we already have in the code several ways to manage how we live our day to day. And currently a lot of them are not being enforced, unfortunately. That's one of the things we need to focus on. So starting to think about when we have so many things we've discussed already, bigger issues, how we would regulate noise pollution, I don't think it would be one of my priorities bringing to the table.
Thank you. Same question goes to Mario.
I will echo on prioritization. I have not ran into that issue myself where I live. Maybe we have smaller, individual contributors that monitor our grass. But if we talk about the median, my median is really skinny. So we probably don't get the same noise issue that whoever contributed that question has. I do agree that it's not one of the bigger issues that we need to deal with, but I'd love to hear more about what the concern is around the noise.
Jonathan?
Do you mind it was noise pollution? What was the second part of that?
Noise pollution from commercial lawn services, commercial landscapers in the village.
Okay. As far as the noise pollution issue goes, I think that would be difficult to regulate only because this is lawn equipment. These are lawn mowers. Most residents, if they're not hiring a service, they have their own or a neighbor or someone. So it kind of becomes a slippery slope there. If you say that commercial vehicles can't come in and mow lawns, then does that then stop residents from mowing their lawns? So I think that's kind of difficult to say that that needs regulating for noise from lawn mowers. As far as blocking the streets, certainly if they're in the middle of the roads and they're impeding traffic, then I think that's part of what the police service here is for in moving those obstructions off of the right of ways. So certainly if they're blocking the road, then I would hope that they would be told that they need to move their equipment over to allow traffic to flow freely. So I think those are adequately addressed.
Thank you. Thank you. Judy, do you have any thoughts on the noise pollution?
Yeah, actually, I was thinking about that yesterday when I heard the leaf blower going from one of my neighbors. I thought, gosh, it's so noisy. But I don't know how we would regulate that. I don't know of leaf blowers that don't make noise. I don't know of mowing equipment that doesn't make noise. So I don't know when you've got 1,600 homes with probably 500 to 800 different companies doing the work, how you could regulate that. I think it would be a great idea if we could figure out how to put a muffler on the leaf blowers. But I'm not sure that is something we can do. I would have to look into it a little bit more. But as far as my top priority, I still look at what we need to do to keep ourselves safe as being the bigger issue. But I think that's kind of an interesting question. I'm glad it came up. I'll see if I can find anything about it.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Ms. Oliveira, same question. And keep in mind that communities around the country have banned gas blowers and require landscapers to use electric ones. Question was thoughts about the noise pollution from commercial lawn services. Yeah.
Sorry, that was an interesting tidbit. So thank you.
I think I'm going to say something similar to everyone else, although firstly, I would say I would love to know more detail about this particular question. Where I live is kind of one of the main roads. I'm on Griffin Road. So of course, the right of way is sometimes affected somewhat by landscapers coming in. Overall, I would just want to hear, I guess, more specifics from this particular resident. I'd like to listen to the scenario and refer back to our regulations. Maybe we do have something related to gas leaf blowers. That would definitely be an interesting thing to look into. So I think that's where I would be with it. I need to know more.
Okay, same question to you, Daniel.
Well, the idea of, I mean, we have trees. Everybody wants trees. Everybody wants grass. Somebody has to cut it. If it's not going to be the residents, it's going to be a commercial company. And if the resident doesn't want to do it, of course, they go out and hire commercial. You mentioned about the gas thing, a city that does that. I wonder if the city tells the residents you can't use gas lawnmowers, or they just don't have a commercial. I think that's kind of silly to tell commercials they can't do it, but residents can. And if you're going to go after them, as far as them blocking the roads, I think this commission is dealing with that. It's in reference to parking on a medium. That's something that we're dealing at on this commission. But as far as regulating the noise from that, if you're going to criticize the commercial companies that come in here, then you have to go after the residents. And I don't think you want to do that. So
Thank you.
that's not my top priority on this commission.
Thank you. You see a hand? Oh, no. Okay, Veronica Amsler, if you could change one thing in the current zoning code, what would it be?
So again, I think there is a lot of current changes happening and being discussed at least by the board. And there's so many already that we have that we need to make sure we follow and we are in compliance with. But I think one of the main ones I've been hearing about is the height, the discussion of the height of the two-story homes. If you were to have two-story homes, how high can you go? It was recently discussed in the last meeting about 35 feet. I feel we don't need to be so restrictive sometimes. I agree with the height, but when it comes to then applying a certain height per floor, I've heard a lot of these discussions. Again, they're the ones that have the expertise to follow, but to be honest with you, not that I would change much to your question, but rather follow this expertise that they have. And specifically in this case, what I was talking about high, because I understand how people would feel invaded by these Mac mansions being built right now, for example. That's a hot topic. So yeah, that's my answer.
Thank you. Thank you. Same question to Mario. Can you repeat the question, please? Yeah, if you could change one thing in the current zoning code, what would it be?
I would like to personally to be able to relax the rules around the area not shown to the public. I think a lot of houses are built higher, right? You step up to your home for floods, resiliency, I guess. But then when someone goes into the backyard, they can look straight into your house. Now, I know you can have a second story home that can do that, but most houses are not two-story. I would like to have more privacy to individuals. That's my personal kind of wish list. As far as changes, I would like more clarity in the code and the rules. I think it takes a lawyer to read some of these regulations in the zoning code. I would like cleaner, more clarity around those rules. And start with that. And then once we clean those up, when people understand them, let's see what actually needs to be changed, because most folks don't get it and they don't have an opinion in what needs to be modified.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks. Jonathan, any questions?
I think what I would like to see with the zoning regulations is an ability for residents to use their property as they see fit within reason and within keeping the aesthetic of the village. So if I know that this was mentioned earlier, but for example, if someone has a larger front yard space or side yard space and they have small kids or animals, it can be difficult to utilize that space within reason of safety. So if there's a way to allow residents to do something with a small fence or a small enclosure within the correct and proper aesthetic, and done so in a way that would provide clarity to the residents on how they can do it, and how they can execute it, I'd like to be able to see something like that take place, just to allow residents to better enjoy their property. But again, keeping within the aesthetic of the village, since I know that's very important and it's something that we value here.
Thank you. Judy, same question.
Well, I tried to do something about it, and my concern was for the pedestrians walking on the street because we have no sidewalks. I wanted to try to get us a safe area on the edge of the swale. When we first started and when I first moved to this village, there was no development besides grass or pavement allowed on our swales. The Code Review Board did make recommendations, and under, I believe it was Mayor Trutman, they basically threw everything out and said you could do basically any type of planting you wanted on your swale. So it makes it difficult sometimes when people put hedges and things up to the edge of their swale for people to get out of the way of traffic when cars are coming and our roads are very narrow. But the residents made it very clear that they did not have that same issue, that they wanted to be able to develop their swales the way they wanted to develop it. So the board voted it down, and I live with that. But that was one of my issues. Thank you.
Thank you. Veronica Oliveira, if you could change one thing in the zoning code, what would it be?
I don't think there's any particular thing in the zoning code today that stands out to me that I need changed. I have read through, and I do believe in what Mario said about some clear and concise language. I think that would only help with things such as permitting process, lead times as well. So I think the first step is really a thorough review of the code as it exists today, and some type of determination as to how much of it is current needs, as well as cleaning up the language. If we were going to do any sort of changes, I think that the community should be very involved, and that we could have workshops to discuss. We could have surveys for those residents that can attend so that they can bring in their piece. Also, I like what Jonathan said about getting use of our front yards and side yards. Those of us who have children, small dogs, I have a special needs son. Safety is, sort of important in the property itself. Although obviously, I think that's something that would really need to be dug into, and parameters would make a lot of sense. Those are my thoughts on the zoning board.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Samaria.
Thank you. We have a code board that has been, we lost one of our leading members, but we have a code board that sets our codes. And I think they do a very good job at it. I think enforcement is the most important thing that we need to do, is enforce codes that we already have. We don't need to keep on trying to fix something that's not broken. I think the problems we have had in the past is because it has not been enforced. The code board comes up with ideas, and the city doesn't enforce it. So enforcement is the most important thing. Like I said, you don't need to fix something that I don't believe is broken. I think there's always areas that we can improve on, and that's what you have a code board for. So you go in front of the code board, give instructions from the commission, goes and says what we would like to see, and the code board comes up with it. I am not a code person. I don't know anything about code. So why am I going to give an opinion on code? I go in front of a board that has it, and the code board does a real good job at doing it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. The writer of this question doesn't want any double talk, just wants a straight answer. Direct question. Do you support more street lighting, less street lighting, or the same? This goes out to Veronica. Street lighting. Or the same.
Lighting issue in the village. Yes, I got it. So, okay, so I think what I would do is, I would go back to investigate with the residents. I want to know what the light issues are about. I would first talk to the chief of police and his department and ask, on a safety concern, what are the light issues on his perspective? I will also ask the staff to provide the same vision as well as the boards. With that on mind, then we can have a discussion of what the issue currently is. I feel right now, we have some dark areas, at least where I live, the south part of Biscayne Park. And I very much appreciate it. And I can see how for some that could be wonderful because it stays within our environment. But also for others, it could be a safety concern. I, the other day, found behind an area that was really dark around my house, beer bottles, and clearly some sort of an activity that has been going on over there that wasn't really visible. So again, if it's a safety issue, we need to hear first from the police department. And I would like to hear from the boards first, and the staff, what their opinions are, as well as from the residents, to see if this is actually an issue we need to tackle and how to put it in the agenda.
Thank you. Mario, more, less, or the same?
I think it varies. I don't think there's a one size fit all. I think some streets have more issues than others in terms of safety. So we all go back to safety. I think there's no one on this board that does not want a safer Biscayne Park. So I think we have to tackle one street at a time, identify, does this street have a lighting issue or not in terms of safety, not aesthetics. And then if so, then we tackle that, right? There are some that are pro lighting, some not. I don't know how divided we are on that topic, but it might be pretty evenly, which means that there is a conversation to be had about it. Again, I stand where there are some streets that may need more lighting, some may not, some are okay.
Thank you. Jonathan.
I know it is an issue that some residents have brought up. Even a close neighbor of mine has said several times that he wishes there was a little bit more lighting on parts of our road. So I know that there are residents that it does concern. I would say in a more direct way that I would be for it under certain conditions, of course. More lighting within reason, there doesn't need to be more than enough. And of course, within current aesthetics and where it's needed or where it's required. But I would also be concerned doing it in a way that doesn't disturb the residents where new lighting would be going in, because I know that that's a lot of concern with many people that more light pollution near their home could disturb their enjoyment of their property. So I think that is a consideration that would need to go into putting more lighting in certain parts of the village. And I know that there are certain places that lighting is required for safety and for ADA compliance, which is important too. So if there are specific areas that require it for compliance with certain regulations, then I think that that's certainly important too.
Thank you. Judy, did you go?
Yeah, lighting is a double-edged sword because many people don't want the glaring lights shining in their eyes and into their property. We had that with some lights that were changed on 6th Avenue where the county made them extremely bright, and the neighbors are having a difficult time getting dark in their home to go to sleep at night. The light is just everywhere. So I think you have to take it on a block by block, person by person case, because putting up extra lighting for somebody who doesn't want to be lit up in that area is not necessarily a good thing. My street has a couple of dark spots, and there's one right in front of my home, and I do leave my front light in the front yard on, so it assists others. It's not a very bright light, but it gives enough light to help people through when they're walking. But I think it's something that needs to be approached with the neighborhood in mind on a street by street, block by block basis.
Okay, thank you, Judy. Same question, Veronica Oliveira.
So to do no double talk, but I did like all of their answers as well. I think, again, this is a thing that we have to review. If maybe existing light fixtures are not the most conducive for the environment regarding our wildlife as well as safety. So I think we can look at options for if we need more or if we need to change out what's here. I know there are downlit sort of options that hopefully won't scare any more of the bats or owls away. So I would, obviously safety and people in alleys, at night here in our neighborhood is, we want to avoid that, right? So I think it's one of those things we have to evaluate and look at all of our options. I would say in the event that it's really necessary, right? Speak to the police, like you said, and also, only an option that would be not detrimental to our native wildlife that we've already lost quite a bit of. So,
Thank you. Daniel.
I know I say this a lot. This is an area that the commission is working on. We're working on the lighting situation. There's a lot that this commission is doing. So I don't want to repeat stuff or tip my hand on what's coming up at the commission, but lighting is important for safety reasons, but it's also important to protect our wildlife. There's certain areas, and we have to go through FP&O. Same thing with 6th Avenue. If 6th Avenue wants to put up the lights that they want to put up, we can't do anything about it because they own 6th Avenue. FP&O, we're working with FP&O. They did have different kind of shades of lights. So that's a process that we're still in with the commission working on it. We need to fix the areas that have a problem. But if there's no problem in an area, I don't want residents being able to have those bright lights shining into their house. They need to have their privacy. So this is stuff that the commission is working on, and we have workshops coming up that will do that. But I definitely think that we have a problem with lighting, but not a major problem that we need to do. We have to deal with it. Thank you.
This may be the last question, and then we'll move on to closings. This is a question asked by a resident and by the League of Women Voters. And we'll start with Veronica Amsler. How do you plan to engage with residents if you're elected?
There. That's a very good question. Communication, as I tried to state it before, when I was listing the main issues for the village, I believe is one of them. I would love to see a systematic way to pull information to the village as much as to pull from. I believe in having a voice as a village is key in this. Not a next door by each one of us commissioners, but actually use our official next door, for example, for the city, as a way to communicate where we stand. A lot of the things I've spoken to the village residents are things that are currently being worked on, but they don't know about. They don't know the efforts that are actually in place. They don't know about the timings of those. And a lot of the other things is, how do I connect? If a meeting lasts 4 hours, I am not going to go and meet in the last 4 hours. So really, communication is huge. Again, I want to state that a voice from the village is key. That voice will give us access to know exactly where we stand on the plan, exactly what we feel from residents by pulling polls, by really using technology to do that. We have a huge opportunity. Communication is what builds community. If we're not engaged in knowing what's happening, it's very easy to get divided. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Mario, the same question, which is how do you plan to engage?
So in my job, I'm a very data-driven decision-making group. So I believe in getting data to make the right decisions. Where to source that data, I think digital format is the easiest way and quickest way to consolidate a bunch of information and make decisions based on that. Nextdoor is one platform that seems to work for a lot of folks, but I did link a survey from there and only got 25 people fill it in. So it's a very busy platform, but I'm not sure that the majority of the community is in that environment. So maybe it's on your own internal website needs to have a better way to market the information out to our guests for them, I guess, to our residents. Maybe there's a way to interface Nextdoor into our current environment, right? So we could get that data fed into ways that commission can absorb it. So again, I think digital is the way to go. What platform and how to do it is where the challenge is. And it may require multiple avenues to gather the information.
Thank you. Thank you. Jonathan.
I think finding or developing the right platform or the right venue to promote community involvement is important. I know right now several methods have already been mentioned and discussed a bit, and I think it's difficult when you have several different versions, only portions of which of the community are utilizing it. So if you've got 10% here, you've got 5% here, you've got another 20% there, you're not really getting the cohesion that I think you need to listen to opinions on issues. So whether that be maybe something that, Mario mentioned, maybe that be through the village website, maybe that's the one resource that we can use to direct people to the one place that we really want community engagement. But one of the other items that I've used in the past, or that I've found to be particularly useful, is the events that the village throws. We on the foundation, we had one of our Food and Tunes events back in March, and I noticed we had a really good turnout for that. And just to be able to engage with residents in an in-person setting like that, now that we're in a more endemic COVID world, it is very useful. And it's nice to get FaceTime with residents. It's nice to just meet people maybe you haven't met before, or create a space where people want to come out and enjoy some personal, more informal time with the residents and with the people that volunteer their time to help govern the village. So I think those areas are very important, and I would love to continue to use those type of in-person events to do that, to interact.
Thank you. Judy, same question.
Okay, I'll probably reiterate what Jonathan just said as our personal events that we have at the village several times a year, I think are critical. I do try and keep an eye on what's going on Nextdoor. The village does post information on Nextdoor, but it's very hard for somebody to monitor everything that's said on Nextdoor for what's going on. If I do find something going on Nextdoor, I will take it to the village manager and try and figure out what we can do about it. I do try to respond to residents' emails and texts when they send me information or ask for information or give me information about what's going on. I try to be available to people. But everybody has a very busy life, and to think that we're going to have this magic communication thing that's going to pull everybody into one thing is kind of difficult, because a lot of people don't want to give their emails, and a lot of people don't want to monitor Nextdoor on a regular basis. So it makes it difficult, because we are over 3,000 people who have different ways of communicating.
Thank you. Thank you. Same question, Veronica Oliveira.
I think I'm going to parrot again, but in my mind, this is a multi-channel approach. Obviously, we're humans. We're a couple thousand people living here, and you have to find a way to reach people in our day and age, right? So, digital, I think adding surveys options to the website or in the newsletter that goes out. I think if I know that the commission meetings are posted online, if there's an email notification that goes out about that, maybe that would be useful. We have a rec center that I feel like is a great opportunity for communicating, because so many people take advantage of our rec center. So I think if we have maybe more information there, even if there's some type of suggestion box or something that gets delivered to the manager on a monthly basis. I know for me in a previous company that worked so well, because people can sometimes contribute anonymously, and that helps the village manager to keep a good grasp on ongoing issues or new issues coming up. Obviously, commissioners at first time in real life events is also really great, and I'm committed to attending as many of the village events as possible, so that I can continually connect with residents.
Yes, this was one of my items that one of my stuff that I wanted to achieve when I ran as a commission. This was brought up at the commission and I'll give credit to this commissioner because I think he did a real good job on the Commission Kennedy, where we have bars, the scanner bars, we have email, and our email blast has been adding up. One of the problems with our email blast is people don't want to give their email address because one, it becomes public record. Anybody can request to have your email blast and you have to give it up. So a lot of people don't want to do that, but it has been building up. So we have to work on our email blast. We're also having double, triple addresses for the email blasts. So one person can have three emails on it. So that becomes a problem when he gets 3 different messages. Our websites, the commission approved the website that I think still has some work to be done on it, but it really looks good. Door hangers, which we do, and the commission passed on that unanimously. So communication, we hired a communication organization, and we got rid of them because it didn't do, as they say, either the right job or the price was not right. For the price that we gave them wasn't going to be enough for what we wanted them to do. So communication is always open. We always need to improve. But I think this commission has come a long way since the last commission of doing a better job on the communication. So we still have a lot of work. The key is we have to listen to residents. Residents have to be willing to participate. And the way you're going to participate, unfortunately, is you have to give up your email. If you don't want to give up your email, the village is not going to contact you. Again, it's a double sword. So thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to close.
Would you like to take a short break or not before we move into closings? No? Okay, let's just go straight to the closings. And we're going to have 3 minutes for each, 3 minutes. And we're going to go in. 2 minutes. Well, it says here 3 minutes.
2 minutes.
This is from the League of Women Voters. Yeah, that's what the hand out from the League of Women Voters said. And we're going to go in reverse order from the openings, which would mean Mr. Samaria is first.
First, I want to thank everyone that has come tonight. Wish we had a lot more people, but it's good. It's going to be streaming in our next door. I've been on this commission for 4 years. My record stands for what it stands for. If people are going to like what I achieved, they're going to vote for me. If they don't, then they won't vote. I will continue to work for the residents and continue to do what I'm doing on this commission. Trying to work as best as possible and work hard as I can to listen to the residents. One of the things that I kind of failed, and that's going to change, I need to better respond to emails. I know commissioners don't have to respond to emails and we get busy, but that's no excuse. I got elected to be commissioner of Biscayne Park, so I have to do a better job of responding to emails. Even if it's, that's one of the things I need to do is respond better with emails. And hope I can continue. There's a lot of work that I have to do on the commission, but of course, for me to continue to do that work, I have to be on the commission. So I hope that my 4-year record speaks for itself. Thank you.
Ms. Oliveira.
Well, I'd like to say thank you to Nancy and Barbara for putting this together. Regina from the Women's League of Voters. It's really nice to see you all here, your organization. So thank you so much. Also, it's great to see so many residents and my fellow candidates. It's been a really fun ride so far, meeting you all and engaging with you more. And it's really heartening to see that my fellow candidates and I were all very much similar, same page. And when engaging with the residents, I feel like I'm seeing that same thing as well. There's a shared vision here and it's something special. So I just would like to say that I appreciate this opportunity and any other upcoming events that will give me the opportunity to earn your vote.
Thank you. Judy, could you give us your closing?
Yes, let me make sure my mic's on. Yes, it is. All right. Again, thanks to everybody for putting this on. It's been a wonderful opportunity. We are all very lucky to live in such a quaint little village of neighbors. In the big city, it's so hard to find a little piece of small town America. I live on a street where people talk to each other regularly and help each other routinely. To me, this is very special. I'm not worried about the values of our property. If we take care of code, our safety by our police, and security against the threats of a changing environment, all will be well. It's unnecessary to have battles. Differences in thoughts and opinions are normal and should be respected. I believe we should be working together with our neighbors to keep our village secure moving forward into the future. Although there are people who will tell you that this commission does nothing, this commission has done more with the help of our village manager than any other commission in many, many years. We have one stormwater project completed and several others in the planning stages. We have tackled many large projects, even starting to digitize our records, to small projects such as planting trees in the medians and swale issues. Some people will say there's too much dissent on the commission, yet if you look at our record, the vast majority of our votes are unanimous votes. I think it's wonderful to see new faces getting involved in our village, but I believe it's imperative we have some continuity on our commission to ensure that projects which have begun do not get dropped by the wayside. I'm also a board member and attend League of Cities meetings, an organization that gives a voice to small municipalities. I've updated our vulnerable persons list, helping people in case of natural disasters. I've assisted people in getting vaccines. I've sewn masks for residents. I've sat down with numerous residents who felt they were not being treated fairly by the village to try and help them resolve their problems. These are the reasons I hope you will vote to re-elect me. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you. Jonathan.
I'll start the same way I started the opening. First, I'd like to thank Nancy and Barbara, thank the residents, the League of Women Voters, our moderator. It's a great event for people to get out and put a face to the name, talk to the people, and just kind of understand who the candidates are and where they stand on issues. It's important. It's important. I'm proud that everyone came out to be well informed. Informed vote's an important vote. I think there's been a lot said. We've been here for a while, so I appreciate everyone's patience. I really look forward to continuing serving the community, be it through the commission or if it doesn't seem fit that I get elected to the board, to sticking with the foundation and continuing to work. No matter what happens, I think everyone here wants to see the community continue to progress in a positive way. Everyone here wants to promote, I think, a friendly neighborly environment, which is very important. So I do look forward to continuing to collaborate with everyone here, with residents, no matter what happens. And I look forward to continuing to meet neighbors and look forward to earning your vote and the other votes of the neighbors of this village. So thank you very much for the time today, and I very much appreciate it.
Thank you. Mario.
Well, I'd like to thank you for coming. I see 40 chairs and we have 1,000 houses. I think there's something to say about communication and more participation in the village. So I look forward to working with the other elected commissioners and hopefully we can better that. I want to thank the organizers for putting this together. I think it's one of many formats. I will say I'm not a politician by nature. Being a Q&A panel is not something I enjoy doing, but hopefully you guys got something out of it. I enjoy collaboration and one-on-one conversations. Having office hours, I think, will be something that commissioners can probably dedicate an hour or two a week. Be on a chat board and let people join in and ask questions. That could probably be one way to get the word out. If you're happy with the way things are going, you have 2 very volunteers that are running today that you can vote for them. If you're not, you have 3 or 4 of the folks that are willing to chip in. So hope to earn your vote and looking forward to the change.
Thank you. Ms. Amsler.
All right. Last, it's been me first. I want to say thank you very much to all for participating, for putting together this event, and for helping organizing us. As much as I really, again, appreciate having to hear from my fellow candidates on their views coming into this election. I think I share with some of them that for me, this is already a win. I've been speaking with so many residents asking for a change, for a turn of page, and I'm excited because it's coming. I mean, you see 4 new faces here, very willing to participate together and collaborate together into making that happen. If I have to leave you with 3 things for you to remember me and what I stand for, you'll see it in my flyer in the table, but I would order it in the following way. I want to protect our village identity. We have something very special. So defining and defending what makes us proud and distinct is something I will stand for. Striving for best-in-class administration, commanding accountability across long, mid, and short term is essential. We have very little money. We need to know where it's going. We need to be organized, and really starts by hitting those basics first. And lastly, and I talked about it as well, bringing a community together. And my first thing will be consistent and simplified communication of all village affairs. So that would be my summary. I have 2 more tacticals at the end, but if I have to say, why are you here? What would you do in the course of your action? I think those are the 3 main vision drivers for me. So again, thank you very much. I have the energy, I have the time, and I have the willingness to participate in this commission, giving back to the community, and willing to do this with my fellow candidates. So thank you again.
Thank you. Judy?
She went already. I would like to close out. The League of Women Vote.
Okay.
The League of Women Voters would like to thank the candidates as well as the participants that joined us via YouTube. And we would also like to thank the city or the town of Biscayne Park and you all for coming out. I would like to state our Vote 411 app is a nonpartisan voters guide. You can join it via phone or via internet on your computer, and it will guide you to different polls to be informed about the elections as well as the candidates. Thank you all. No, no, dear.
That will be different next time.